Previously on.
Previously.
Previously on.
Previously on.
Previously on.
Previously on.
Previously on.
Previously on.
Previously on the recap sequence.
Hey folks, welcome to the recap sequence. We're back. It's been a couple of weeks. We've experienced all kinds of global
highs and lows.
Highs and lows. Yeah, if you look behind us here, you can see that the studio's in a bit of disarray. We had a flood down here over the Easter weekend. We had a ridiculous amount of rain.
Yeah,
and the space I thought would never flood. It
flooded.
So we'd have to take down some equipment and set it back up. Behind me though, I also have featured prominently my Eclipse robot that I built. We also had a total eclipse. We were in the path of totality here in Fredericton. Ryan,
it was cool. It was cool. Actually, I thought the coolest piece was your security cam footage that you put up there.
Oh yeah,
during the actual eclipse portion of it. That was actually really cool.
So I tried a few things. I built this thing. I was supposed to get a little bit more than I ended up with, but I did get a really cool time lapse that's on my Instagram. If you follow me, my personal Instagram, I also had tried to do a time lapse of my yard, but it didn't work out. The battery died on the camera that I was using because it was 3 hours the whole thing. You think the eclipse is going to be like, oh yeah, let's go, we'll have a look, but you're really waiting.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, moon, get over there, and it did. It was absolutely spectacular, but I didn't get the yard footage I wanted, but I do have a backyard security camera that went right into the infrared mode as soon as the totality the darkness hit, and you can see it. You can see my kids running around, and you can see actually my wife's trying to light up a sparkler at one point, and
it was really cool.
Just kind of captured, and for me it's just kind of an observer's view of some of the joy that my children got to experience. So that was a very special thing, for sure. So I hope you had
it was neat. It was really something when no, but it was like you're outside and you're hearing the birds going and everything, and then everything just goes silent.
Yeah.
And everyone's commenting on how cold it is, and someone's like, "Well, that's what happens."
It happened, but it did. There were like you could see it get dark, kind of like when you stare at the clock, to see the minute hand move. It was like that kind of experience, but with the moon in front of the sun. It was it was quite the thing. It was all we talked about at work for the next day. So yeah, glad you thought it was neat.
It was.
It was.
I mean, it's not something we're gonna see again.
No.
You're in my lifetime.
Yeah, and in our circles, I'm sure there's some of us that wonder, did anybody get any superpowers? I'm sure that crossed everybody's nerd mind. Speaking of which, we've got a great interview coming up after the break. Jarvis Donovan is joining us from GY6 Studios.
Another member of that
team. We have been rich in great content. Thanks to that group of folks.
We could say as well, you and I both, here's one of the highs out of this, is that we both got our copies of Got Your Six issue.
We did, yes.
So, oh my God, if you're listening to this and you're going to like Capercon or YCon or Miracon, ECC, get your hands on this book. It is an incredible story. Fantastic artwork by Sebastian Roy and colors by Brianna June.
Yeah.
But Hal and Justin knocked this book out of the park. It's worth it.
It's fantastic. So that team is actually going to be at East Coast Comic Expo in June, and among a plethora of amazing folks, Jed McKay.
Back.
We saw him last ECCE. Nick Bradshaw, who you fondly bring up
I do, and
generally every episode, because there's it's like seeing your dreams come true, right?
It really is.
We saw it happen with the ROM cover that he did.
X-Men,
so I'll be curious to have a follow-up chat with him about that, and of course GY6 Studios, and what a team of all stars with Justin and Hal, Brianna June, Sebastian Roy, Sammy Francis. So Sammy Francis, I've been seeing all over my Instagram and Facebook, just kind of having a real climb up in her work. It's great to see. James Dixon and Jarvis Donovan, who we'll hear from in just a few minutes.
And if you're curious, Misfit Mercs, it's going to be a hell of a book as well. It looks hilarious.
Yeah, there's the teaser in there. If you do get your GY6, got your 6 book, there's a little bit of that artwork in there, and we've been lucky. Because we've been talking to Justin for the last several weeks over a bunch of different things. It comes up. He's very excited about it, and now so are we. We've heard all kinds of cool stuff about it, and we've talked to just about everybody involved. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that book. Big name, Ramon Perez announced last week, also going to be at ECCE. A Raid Studio, which is the Royal Academy of Illustration and Design, and that features Ramon, S.M. Carter, and Dax Gordine, Tara Odibert, and Sandy Carruthers.
Yeah,
gonna be, Sandy was the first one announced for ECCE, so I believe.
No, he's the most recent.
Oh, he's the most recent.
Yeah, as we're recording this, he was announced yesterday.
That's right. That's right. You know, I am thinking this because we were just talking to Sandy 3 weeks ago, and then the flood, and then the eclipse, and then my COVID, all that stuff had happened.
Yeah, congratulations.
So it's a little brain fog. I got it all mixed up. But yeah, Sandy, and
congrats, man.
Congratulations, Sandy Carruthers. Yeah, we talked about this on our episode with him a couple of weeks ago. He was nominated for a Sequential Magazine Award
for favorite artist, and
nailed it. Got it.
Congrats.
Dark Sanctuary, another book you might want to check out. And Sandy is, I think Sandy's going to be at with Andrew Clark at Back Issues Comic Con in Dartmouth on the 20th. And speaking of which, we will be talking to Tony White about that.
Yes.
Tomorrow. He is one of the organizers of that con. It's happening in a week. Another great
nothing much going on
event for comic collectors alike.
Tons of going on, and then before you know it, we're heading to Moncton for our first con of the year.
We're gonna miss a Miracon is happening next month, first week of May, I believe. So, we're gonna get our comic satiation with Free Comic Book Day also coming up very soon. You're gonna be doing your usual.
I'm down at Strange Adventures it is May the 4th as well.
Oh man, that always I love it when it lines up. So there's lots going on. It's been an eventful, emotional 3 weeks with everything that's kind of gone on. But we're back up and running. We've got everything. Everything seems to be working.
We got some fun stuff coming as well. We're gonna have Jen Lamb join us on there do potentially our final ever Speaking of the Dead. I don't know.
Are we done? Are we done with The Walking Dead?
I'm done with one half of the other spinoff.
Oh dear. Okay, so it's always a mixed review I get. Anyway, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on.
Did you watch the Rick and Michonne? You did. Okay, good.
We'll get that. We'll get that all out when we talk to Jen. We'll be having Brent on in the coming weeks as well. We've got some Deadpool to talk about, and of course ECCE is coming. Like a bullet train here. The way that time flies. So we'll have that to chat with. So all that and more. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with Jarvis Donovan. We'll be talking Misfit Mercs and all the other stuff that Jarvis is working on. So be sure to stick around. Hey, this is Jamie.
And this is Ryan.
And we're the Recap Sequence.
Be sure to tune into us every Wednesday night on CHSR 97.9 FM. We're online at chsrfm.ca at 7 p.m. Atlantic, 6 p.m. Eastern.
And if you don't catch us live, you can catch our podcast on Spotify, on Amazon, anywhere you get your favorite podcasts. And we also have a YouTube channel you may have been watching. And if not, you should be. Catch us on YouTube at Recap Sequence.
So and subscribe.
Yeah, please. Welcome back to the Recap Sequence. We are back with another local artist. We have been, if you've been watching our show for the last couple of weeks, we have been firmly entrenched and entangled with the GY16, Freddie Beach crew, whatever you want to call them, Justin Steves and his band of fellows and ladies. Whatever. It's been a great experience for us because we're getting to meet all kinds of people that have been involved in some great books that are. One of them has been printed, and we've got a copy of it. Another one, soon to be printed. We get a chance to look at it. That one's called Misfit Mercs, and we have Jarvis Donovan on today, and Jarvis is here. Is this your first interview with a podcast?
100%. I've fan of many of them. Never been a part of any of them.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Same thing for us. We were fans, and then all of a sudden we got swept up in it, and here we are. So welcome. We're really glad to get a chance to speak with you. So let's get right into it. Misfit Mercs is something that we've heard, a fair bit about in the last a couple of episodes, because Justin has been fairly excited about it, and it's something that he sort of gave us a little bit of an origin story of how it all came together with him and Hal. How did you get involved in this particular book?
Justin and I met back in, I think, well, we met back at last year's CaperCon, like very briefly, and I worked with Brianna from the same studio. We worked at the same animation studio, and I had mentioned to her a few times that I was interested in maybe like branching out into like the world of comics, and she one night she said, well, I can show Justin some of your stuff, because I do storyboards for animation, and when Justin heard that, he was interested to check out my work, because storyboards and comics are fairly similar. And I think she asked me if there was anything I wanted to show him, and I just kind of went, yeah, I guess I can show some of this stuff. And it's just like old like pitches, or like kind of auditions for like boarding gigs. And I think within the next 10 minutes I was talking to Justin. So
amazing. What about like, so the subject matter in Misfit Mercs, is that something that
it's wild,
yeah, like the character design, is that anything like you've seen before, or that you would have pitched? And it's a bit out there, it's creative. What did you think of it as a pitch?
A lot of it was very up to interpretation. Like there was very specific certain aspects, like the cockatoo character.
Yeah.
Like for a while he was just kind of just a big bird. Just big bird, only not yellow.
Right.
And after a while, because more or less before I started doing the interiors of the book, I had already figured out, like I kind of did like a rough sketch of what I figured Dr. June, the main protagonist, and his sidekick were going to look like. I kind of did rough sketches of them to see if that was okay. And every time I'd pitch something to Justin, he was like, put it in right now. So, and a lot of it was trying to figure out what exactly Justin is looking for, and seeing if I can maybe push it a little more and think outside of the box with it.
So it's interesting you say that, because with the other book that Justin was working on, there was a lot of, he knew what he was looking for in terms of the presentation and stuff. Misfit Mercs, when he pitched it to us, we were just like, this sounds crazy, but you could tell how much fun they were having with it. Did he basically say, this is what I'm looking for, and you run with it? Or was it a lot of back and forth collaboration here, especially writer and artist?
A lot of it was, well, since we had started, like since we met and he asked, like he saw my work and wanted to work with me, he was pretty like consistently messaging me saying like, we got to get something going. I have like a script for a thing. There was like another thing that he had, like it's kind of like very early stages of, didn't end up going with it, but he was constantly trying to find something for me and him to collaborate on. And when the script for Misfit Mercs came, he immediately reached out to me and said, I got a script that I'd like you to take a look over, and artistically, it's you take it and run. And I tried to sprint as best I could.
Yeah. So how do you find what you do with storyboarding to basically creating this comic book here? Do you find it sort of parallel to each other, or are there noticeable differences?
Well, storyboarding more or less is just drawing like basically panels of a comic, you have to be a lot more particular with boards, just because you have to really illustrate every little minute movement. Because when that moves on to animation, you have to make sure that it's very clear what you're trying to get across. With comics, it's actually a little bit more of a challenge because it's taking all those minute details and trying to get that all across in just one image. So there's a lot of studying that I've been putting into it to try and really get down how to like something as easy as you do like a finger movement, like you do whoosh like that. Like it's easy to do that on a board. You just do however many panels you need to get that across.
Yeah.
But in a comic book, you really have to think, well, how do I show just the motion of a hand going from here to here? And it's been interesting. It's been fun. It's been really fun to try to push my brain to basically think like boarding, but not as deeply as I would, or not like as arduous.
Right.
Yeah.
And as far as switching from storyboarding to like panels in comics, there's a variety of ways you can lay out a comic. Have you had experience in layout? Like, sometimes you full page splashes, sometimes you have like half a page, or they're put together in all kinds of different grids and formats. Was that something that you had some direction on, or did you sort of take some initiative yourself and kind of come up with the way that would flow?
A lot of it was just studying from other comics, seeing how most, most professionals, especially, there's a lot of like comics that I've read that like the layout, you can tell that, the artist is like really meticulous with like how the page is like showing you the information. And I try my best to figure out how to make like the flow of the page, like to make sure that you're starting here and to make sure that your eyes are going from there to here to here to here. It's just been a lot of trial and error, but it's been a lot of studying from other artists that I just have a fondness for.
You want to? So who are some of the artists you've got a fondness for?
There's an artist, Adam Bryce Thomas. He's on like a lot of things. ABT Art, I think, is his Instagram and his Twitter. He seems to be really like thoughtful about how he lays out a page. Like something as simple as like someone jumping from a building is like, you have the panel of the building and then like the whole page is black. Like that whole rest of the top of that page is black, and all you see is just the character jumping from that panel, like out of that panel into the black. And I thought that was really cool. And just little things like that, just really nice ways to make your eyes go there and then. It's just he's one in particular that I draw a lot of inspiration from.
Nice.
When so this is first sort of inaugural issue, I guess, of Misfit Mercs. I know it's cruising towards a finish line to head to print. Are you working on a second issue of it at this point, or are there plans that have been discussed as far as the story goes?
We have a script for the second issue ready, I think, and I think we also have a one-off that we've got kind of sitting for now. I can't really go into a whole lot of detail.
All right.
Yeah, we'll ask, but yeah, don't feel like you have to answer.
Yeah.
Are you as an artist though excited like to be able to see that hold that final first issue product when it's finally out there?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because the whole experience so far, like there seems to be like these milestones that I'm hitting that make it feel more real. Because before it's just, oh, okay, I'm just drawing this thing for a friend, and like the further in I get, the more I'm like, oh, I'm getting like comments from other people, like people you guys have had on the show, like Andrew and Sandy and so on, and just them being like, oh, he's looking really good, and I was like, oh, that's coming from an actual person that has seen this.
Yeah. How do
So
you
it's
feel? And so is this sort of your first, like, where you're into involved in a book? Like, do you go to cons? Like, are you do you go around and meet with these folks in the community, like the Sandys and the Andrews? Like, do you see them often, or is this sort of your first introduction to sort of this local community of maritime folks?
last, like I said, when I met Justin at CaperCon last year, that was probably the first kind of exposure. I didn't like table or anything. I was actually I was at CaperCon helping a friend of mine that was tabling. Uh, but like before then, cons like last year was kind of my first introduction to cons in the world of like conventions and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Um, and it made me actually consider actually doing them. And lo and behold, I believe I'm going to be
You're
doing my
announced for East
first.
Coast Comic Expo.
Yeah, I'm going to be at East Coast Comic Expo. I'm also going to be at this year's CaperCon,
Oh,
which is going to
nice.
be really fun because I'm from Cape Breton, so
Oh,
it'll be
really?
a yeah.
I'm born in Sydney. Just throwing that out there.
Ah,
Yeah,
I'm
hey.
from Ingonish.
Nice, right on. Okay. We'll talk again.
Yeah. How's
Sweet.
your mother?
Just fine, thanks. And yours? That's amazing too. Like, so that you like to just have that introduction. And I'll just say, from a personal level, like I started the podcast. I hadn't done a podcast. I'd been involved in some radio stuff before, but I got onto a show that Ryan was on before we had started this one. And my very first year doing it, we went to HalCon, and then like I've been at every con that I can go to ever since. And just that introduction and being able to talk to folks like you and other local artists has kind of really changed the direction of sort of where my creative interests go. Do you find that now you're thinking as an artist more of being like embedded in that sort of a scene now? Is that sort of the direction that you're looking to go?
Oh, for sure. If I can, obviously, I've always had a love for animation, especially. So, like, and storyboarding, like, ever since, because I went to college for animation.
Mhm.
And once I was done, like, storyboarding was kind of the thing I wanted to do from that experience. Uh, and comics was something I was always interested in, but like, I had no idea how to get into it. And lo and behold, I kind of just tripped my way in there. And yeah, it's something that I really want to try and network a lot more. Like I've made some like Andrew and Sandy, like I've mentioned before, like those two guys, and Justin and his wife Leanne, like great people. Like, and I'm actually really looking forward to getting to CaperCon and like actually getting to the table and like see people, like just experience how it is being like
On the other side of the table now.
on the
Yeah,
other
yeah.
side of the table.
That's the
Yeah.
cool thing.
Yeah.
Like, how excited are you to be going?
On home turf
Yeah.
too? Yeah.
I it's really poetic. Just because like I remember when CaperCon started. It's like this was back in like what, 2013 or 2014, I think. And I was just out of I was probably just out of trade school, and like I had heard of it, and this is back when I was way up north back home, and I was constantly like, oh, I really gotta get to this CaperCon. Like it looks like a really fun thing. But of course it always happened like it used to happen in the fall, and seasonal work back home, and fall is usually when you're getting your last rush. So it's
Right.
like stars never aligned for it until last year. So it's just really cool. It's really cool to be able to not only get the table at a con that I've been wanting to be at for a long time, but the fact that it's also kind of home turf.
Of course.
Yeah,
That's fun.
absolutely.
Yeah, we had that experience last year when Justin seems to be the magic maker these last like 18
Yeah,
months of
really though.
everybody's lives, because he brought Freddie Beach here. We
Yeah.
had it was Big Country the November prior, but last year it was Freddie Beach, and it was the first time we were able to go to a con
In our backyard.
like by bus. Like it wasn't like we had to plan hotels, and then to see all of these people that we would see. That's the thing I think that we've come to notice, and I'm excited for you that you're going to get into this scene, because you do end up seeing a lot of familiar faces. All of a sudden, they become familiar faces, and sitting across the table, or us walking down one of those convention aisles, and and seeing somebody down the way, and you realize we're all here doing something that we're all excited to be doing, and then these events are set up just for that. Obviously, it's set up for fans, but the people that are kind of getting to enjoy their time doing their trade, and they're all grouped together. So it's a fine scene of folks, and I think you're really going to enjoy it.
And I like the fact as well that we're talking with Jarvis and Sebastian, the growth of East Coast artists is just it's incredible, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, have you noticed this? Like so with us, there just seems to be an explosion of cons, and then we're realizing there's cons that have been around for a few years that we're just not aware of. But now, there's a kind of a greater awareness of not only the con scene, but emerging artists in the Maritimes. Are you getting a sense of that there's a bit of a bubble that's growing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that the East Coast has had tons of talented artists for like years. Just no one knew or had a way to really showcase it.
Right. Yeah.
Like
And
like there's so many people like that I've known over the years that are like phenomenal artists, but like outside of just looking at like something they doodled, like how would you know?
Right, right. And it sometimes it takes somebody like a Justin and Leanne to you kind of light that fire, eh? Like, and that's something I think that somebody to take that risk and jump right in there and create an opportunity, not only for them to have their show, but for other people that they've known and admired to be part of that. So I don't know, it's a great time to be. I think a local creator. It's a great time to be in a local scene, and to see the emphasis, I guess, that these cons put on.
Yeah.
There are going to be some big names at ECCE. They've got a couple that they've already announced, but really, like when you get in there, the best part of it for us is just going down those aisles, and it's just East Coaster after East Coaster, and Maritimer after Maritimer, and the odd Toronto person that come back.
Yeah.
Get
out of here.
Yeah, great. Yeah, we'll talk, but you move back to Heartland, will you? It's like
but yeah, it's like because like I said, I've really only been going to these conventions like since last year, but like every time I walk down and see like the what people are selling and all the art and all that, like it's phenomenal. Like there are so many talented people just like within even like small shows.
Right.
Like it's incredible, but some people can put out.
What about the notion now that there's a good chance that you'll be signing some books? Will that be a new reality for you as well?
That'll be so surreal. It's just I've just always, especially with animation, like when you're younger, sure, like you draw a picture and your parents like put it on the fridge or whatever. But in animation, when I was in college, one of the first things that they kind of condition they get through your head is like don't make your drawings like these precious things. Like you have to be willing to like get rid of it. You have to be willing to throw it away.
Let it go and move on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how that's how I always look at my stuff. It's always like I did it, I got it out of my head, and it'll probably sit there for a couple of weeks, and then when I clean out the space, I'll probably have to throw them all out, and that's fine. So it'll be very surreal when somebody like slides a book in front of me to sign, right. And I'm just gonna kind of be like, oh, I would have thrown that in the trash.
Well, I mean, your work, because we've had the luxury, Justin has given us some of the stuff you've worked on. It's fantastic artwork, and I can't wait to get my hands on a copy as well. So you'll be signing mine. I'm just giving you a heads up ahead of time here. One of the things we like to do now when we've gotten into this and talking to more artists is finding out bucket list items, and we've talked to a lot of artists, and we said, is there anyone out there, if you ever had the chance, that you wanted to draw or work on, who would it be? So I'm going to ask you, Jarvis, right now, and I'll give you some examples. Nick Bradshaw was Rom, and sure enough, he did the cover for Rom versus the X-Men. Came out in November. Sandy, when we talked to him a couple weeks ago, said he would love to work on the Silver Surfer. Right. So is there anybody out there that you would love to get a chance to work on?
I now that I'm in the world of comics, one of the things that is like going to be a big like stick, like put my stake in. I would love to do like a cover for the IDW Sonic the Hedgehog comic book.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Because I like Sonic was my guy growing up. Like nice. I love those games, and the comics I think are fantastic. Other than that, probably would be next to Sonic would probably be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because another big franchise from my childhood that I love to death.
Yeah.
How cool is that? Then you'll be like sharing a table with Brianna, who's got that cover for TMNT 150.
That'll be, the fact that she got to do that is so incredible. Like I'm super proud of her for it. Like and the cover's great. It came out fantastic. I remember when she showed me the work in progress version of it, and like it was like like friends do. You draw something from like a fandom, and you're like, isn't this? What do you think of this? And you're like, oh, that's awesome. And then to see that it's gonna be like in stores for people to pick up, that's incredible.
Yeah, that was a huge thing. Again, this community, world building, we'll call it, that Justin's been doing has been very successful for a number of people. What do you got next coming up? Are you you get some storyboarding kind of laid out for some Misfit Mercs? Are there any other projects that you're currently working on, or are you just kind of business as usual going on outside of this?
Well, I think the first issue is going to be finished later today. So we're going to be moving forward for that. And after that, I'm going to take just a bit of a break for a week just to get just to get con season stuff ready.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be right back into doing issue 2. And hopefully, because we have a lot of big plans for Misfit Mercs, and hopefully we'll hear back soon. If not, then just
right,
keep it on the down low. But like
you bet,
either way, the books are definitely going to come out, whether it's through us or through somebody else.
Right.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing them come out. So
definitely.
You've got CaperCon coming up, and then you're going to be at East Coast Comic Expo in Moncton, which we're looking forward to meeting you there finally.
Yeah.
Are you doing any other cons on your schedule at this point?
Right now, the only one I think that I don't know if we're confirmed yet, but I am planning to be at YCon.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to be doing those 3 weekends for sure.
Wow, that's awesome. So I mean, a year ago, you're just meeting Justin, going to one con. Fast forward a year, now you've got 3 coming up.
Yeah, it's quite a shift.
For sure. Do you have anywhere that you show off your work? Do you have an Instagram page or anything that you have folks following, or anywhere we can see any of your other stuff?
Yeah, I have an Instagram and a Twitter account. They're under WRJD Art. It's just my initials.
No
and
worries.
actually,
that'll show up right down here in just a second.
Just because, why not? I'll show off like a work in progress thing if you guys want.
Please do, yeah.
Because X-Men 60 or 97 like has come out on Disney Plus, and that got me like really wanting to do something X-Men related. And so I got this work in progress thing here.
Oh my God!
Wow!
And hopefully I can have this done by CaperCon.
Nice.
That is so cool.
And obviously this is going to get colored later on. I'm probably going to go and get it scanned later today.
So if I can ask you real quick then, Jarvis, so you do all the inking and the coloring for Misfit Mercs?
I colored 2 pages, but the colors are all Brianna.
Okay.
So because I did those 2 pages because she just got bogged down with work.
Right.
And after doing those 2 pages, I desperately wanted her to come back.
So was there collaboration between you, like chat back and forth between you and Brianna saying, did she come to you and saying this, or you say this is what I'm looking at in sort of a color perspective, or you just said, here you go, and she runs with it?
Well, yeah, I gave Brianna the same thing that Justin gave me. Is just, I'll do my part, and I guess that'll be mine, and like whatever you want to do with colors is all yours.
So how much fun has that been then? You're working with Brianna, working with Justin. I believe Hal Hilton's on this book as well with you guys, is he not?
Yep. Yep.
So you've had some exposure to
Have
Hal.
you had some exposure to Hal?
I've met Hal like very briefly at Caper last year. And we talked.
We giggle because we love Hal, by the way.
Yeah,
you're in for a treat.
He is.
I've heard nothing but good things, but we'll
guy.
actually properly meet probably at Caper.
Right on.
That's awesome. That's super exciting. No, I'm really looking forward to seeing the book finally, and meeting you in Moncton here in less than 2 months.
Time's flying by, I'll tell you.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah. Well, look, Jarvis, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and to get to know you a little bit. Looking forward to seeing. I'm looking forward to seeing the book.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Congratulations, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Rock
Thanks
and roll for you. That's an awesome opportunity, and it's great to see that you're enjoying it.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, guys. It was a real honor. I've watched like a couple of other episodes, and like you guys are doing great stuff.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Podcast is real. It's real fun. It's got a lot of real fun energy to it. It's
excellent.
Really
Thank you.
We love doing it, and we get amazing guests. So that's really what makes it good for us. So we'll likely hit you up for an in-person chat while we're hitting the con scene. We usually hit the tables with the microphones. So keep up the great work. What we've seen, some of the most exciting moments of chatting with Justin have come right after the recording stops, and he's like, "Hey, check this out," and then he starts sending us pictures that he's not ready to share, publicly.
Yeah,
so
that sounds like Justin.
Yeah, it's been really cool to see it, and
that's all he did at we hung out at Island a couple weeks ago over in PEI, and like we would talk about stuff, and then he'd just pull out his phone and go, "Look at that, man.
Right.
Look at that."
Yeah. No, it's great. His energy is awesome too. He's obviously, very invested and excited in what he does, and he brings in the best people. So
and it's been fun to follow the journey with him. And now finally we bookended here by talking to Jarvis. So.
Yeah. So again, a great work. Looking forward to seeing it. Looking forward to get my book signed, and we'll see you in a couple of months in Moncton.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, awesome, man. Thanks a lot, Jarvis.
All right, take care, guys.
Yeah. Have a great rest of the day.